Hey, welcome to Text Me When You Outside, the podcast celebrating the past and present leaders of nightlife, live entertainment, and hospitality. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon McEachern, followed by my co-host,
Marcus Allen.
Let's get it going. Welcome back to part 2 of part 1 of Text Me When You Outside. You know what I mean? The origins, the beginnings. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon McEachern, here with my man,
Marcus Allen.
You know, yeah. So where we at, bro? I'm telling this story, man.
So I think the easiest place to pick back up is, we just start from first actual Broccoli City Festival. Like we talked about Global Cool and we talked about early LA. We'll probably come back to LA later. We'll have some other folks on to support the LA conversation. But I think let's start Big Crit. You know what I'm saying? Like 2013, first Broccoli City Festival, DC. It was a good joint. Big Crit. Yeah, Phil I Day. Who else was on that joint? Black Alley.
Yeah, it was I don't remember any other big artists, you know what I'm saying? I remember being real, you know what I'm saying, local vibes. Yeah, Phil I Day, Big Crit, Black Alley. I think Jameson, the kid Jameson was on there. I think he was on that first one.
Or was he on 20? I think he was 2014.
Yeah, so he wasn't on the first one, but you know that was cool. You know, it was doing in 2013. We had did the first one in 2010. As far as the block party, and then I guess you could break down like why was niggas saying, "Yo, let's move it to DC" versus keeping it in Los Angeles.
I think we definitely have talked about it, but I think it was the main just the fact that cats had jobs and they was active. You know what I'm saying? People was out, you know what I mean? People were going to events. Around that same time, the homie Modi Quinn, they started Trilectro. So it was like at the same time they were kind of starting their thing. I think they did it like in the fall of one year, and then we were doing it in the spring of the next. You know what I'm saying?
So this could be educational for people who don't know about festivals. The first question is, well, all right, well, how'd you get the money? You know what I mean? How'd you get the money? You want to take that on? How'd you get the money to put on, you know what I'm saying, a festival?
That
for young
first
people
one,
want to know.
Shit, you got to get some cash. Honestly, it's so crazy now. Be like the kind of money that you need to really start one of these joints is like, we started this joint $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, now.
The thing I love for you to break down, though, my bad, is like you having the know-how and the relationships to be able to call on somebody and work out a deal. You know what I mean? At that time,
yeah.
Work out a deal. Because if I'm a young promoter right now and I'm watching this podcast, I'm like, all right, then, well, how do I need to approach somebody? I know somebody in my network who got capital. What's the best way
honestly,
to approach them?
For a promotion situation, people gonna be treating you like hard money, like basically a hard money lender, right? So interest rates gonna be high. You borrow 50, they gonna want 17, 18, 19, 20% back right after the event. It's a terrible, terrible way. You can't sustain your business. You know what I'm saying? Like you one loss away from having some shit over your neck.
But that's not encouraging. The fuck? Can you?
I'm just being honest. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because think about right now, like to do what we did. If you wanted to do what we did again, you probably would need $500,000.
So yeah, okay, all right, yeah, okay. So yeah, okay, you can go back to our story now. I just wanted to set that up yet again for young people who watching and want to do their own shit.
So that was 23 festival. 2003? No, 2013. That shit was cool. It was 3,000-4,000 people. Rock Creek Social, Scooty was a big part of that. There was a big yoga Go Green component. We had great vendors. The mayor came out, Mayor Gray. That was big for us. I think from a profile perspective, having him out there in the area, that was like a big thing. I feel like it set us up. And then that next year going into 2014, with you being in LA, us trying to do both festivals was wild. Remember the next year, we did LA and DC.
Yeah, we definitely wowed out. But I do think that from a consistency standpoint, when it comes to Broccoli City, it was dope to return that next year. Because a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, you see people, they come up with these great ideas. And to Marcus's point, something always go wrong and cats can't always bounce back or come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had the mentality of like never having no plan B. You know what I mean? If we speak about myself personally, I never in my life thought about plan Bs. And I think that probably Marcus was on the same tip. So it's like, yo, you know what I mean? We got to make this shit crack regardless. You know what I mean? Because for me, it was no other option other than like, yo, you got to make this Broccoli City shit something. You know what I mean? So yeah, 2014 was wild.
But hold on real quick. We can't even skip over it because there's like a couple things about 2014, especially LA. So DC was cool. Cameron, Erykah Badu. It was actually a vibe.
Then the LA situation was wild.
Remember Selena Gomez came to that joint? It was so like random. So many like.
Yeah, Selena Gomez. It was the first time
Vashti there.
We had, well, maybe the second time that we had like a white performer, but we had JoJo headline that joint, which I don't know what. When I think about it now, I don't know what necessarily was going through our minds to get JoJo. I know JoJo is a cultural moment. You know what I'm saying? I take responsibility of doing a lot of booking, obviously, but I don't even know why that nigga booked JoJo.
I feel like at that time, maybe she had like it was like a little something going on online. Maybe she had it was something going on with her where like she had some online shit popping. You know what I'm saying?
I will say in the case of like booking talent, there was a time and space where, as somebody who books talent, right, like thinking, oh, you need to book an act that's going to help spread your audience, right? Like help you get like different type of people or whatever.
And the Childish Gambino of it all.
Yeah, I think that was our attempt in like trying to get other folks, you know what I'm saying, a part of it. And I guess I would say to young folks, when you building your joint, don't worry about that. You know what I mean? When you building whatever it is that you building, worry about who you building it for, especially early. You know what I mean? I think a lot of folks do that too. A lot of promoters may make that mistake on trying to get too big, too fast, trying to start humongous. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing wrong with throwing a party. You know what I mean? Back to back to back to back to back. As long as that consistency is there, you know what I mean? That thing could grow. You know what I mean? Because people see what you're doing. But I say all that to say, yeah, LA was interesting. It was definitely a wild situation. We had to get
if they would have had, that shit was wild. Like you got to tell the permit story. Like I wish Perk was here to speak to the permit story because that was a wild time. Yeah. But I remember, like if they would have had like the Nike watches and the Apple watches and all that shit, and you could have tracked how much we walked. Like the venue was so massive. Like the walk from indoors and out, it was like my shoes was just like melted. Like they was done, bro. Like
yeah, the footprint. Crazy. The footprint was definitely, and I don't know if you want to speak to that, being that you was doing footprints, learning about footprints at that time. You know what I mean? The stage all the way down the block. The inside was like massive. The VIP. Like it was just so confusing. Like it was crazy. But it was a lot of good people there. Shout out to, like you said, the Selena Gomez's. A young Kalani was there. Much respect to Kalani.
Ruchi was there, I think, right?
Yeah, Callie Eustace was there. You know what I mean? I think Gold Link was there. You know what I mean? Shout out to D. Anthony. And so many more people too. Chasing Cash, I think he performed that year. The Chuck English cat. Like it was a lot of good cats. Tyron and Omari. It was a lot of good cats on the West Coast side of things that performed that year. And I think we've always done a good job of that. You know what I'm saying? Have a good relationship.
That was that key, like.
My man Like, shout out to my man Like, who produced Kendrick Lamar's Sing About Me. He came, I hit him last minute. He DJ'd the whole VIP lounge. I'll never forget that. DJ'd that joint for like 4 or 5 hours. So shout out to Like from Pac.
Oh, we had Joe K too, didn't we?
Yep. Had Joe K, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We've been on the
Early Joe
Soul
K.
X, so shout out to Joe and Andre Power and Don P. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's crazy
Andres
because
and all
Joe
them
K was
shit.
inside. He wasn't even on the main
No,
stage. He
he
was
was outside.
inside. Like that
Nah,
was
he was outside.
early.
No, he
Oh,
was
he was. He
outside.
was. Okay.
Yeah, he
Okay.
was
Okay.
outside. He was
Okay.
still
Okay.
Joe K. Like Joe K had a very big
Yeah, okay.
presence.
Okay.
Soul
Okay.
Election, shout out to Soul Election. We'll
What
have
was?
one
I'm
of them on
trying to
here.
think. What that was? It was still in the 200. No. 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 It was in the 100s. It wasn't. Maybe not even in the 100s yet.
It wasn't even in the one. I know they didn't have a radio station with Apple. None of that shit. They was on
Yeah.
SoundCloud. They
Yeah.
was just doing
SoundCloud.
shows, but they was active.
Yeah.
Though. They was definitely active. But yeah, them. You know what I mean? Like yeah. So Los Angeles was definitely cool. But yet again, just going back to wanting this to be an educational podcast and wanted to kind of teach y'all something in the midst of telling these stories. Man, I feel like we booked too many acts even though all the people were great. I feel like me personally, I feel
Well,
like
hold on, hold on. Which year? Which year? You talking about in
I'm still on
2014?
that 2014 that Los Angeles play. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it'd be good. Like we gotta hopefully yeah, we can put the flyer up. You know what I'm saying? We'll find the flyer and put it up.
And the
But
flyer was confusing. That's another thing on our side that we
mm,
fucked up on. We had LA and California on the joint. So I would say, yet again, to young cats doing their own thing, man, make your flyer understandable. Please give me the who,
mm.
the what, the
Yeah, we should have just
where,
had two flyers.
the time. What time is your
Yeah,
event?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The
Uh,
website where I can buy them.
yeah, and we ain't even talked about website struggles, logos, coming up with
Yeah, shout out
flyer
to Trox.
ideas. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, we gotta
A
have
few
trucks on here
long
one day.
nights. Oh
Yeah,
man,
shout
but
out.
like remember the Christian? We had some incredible designers over the years though. Like Christian Hayford dropped some very key flyer designs for us. We had Flavio in South America. He was fucking incredible too. Like 3D renders, 3D Studio Max, all
Yeah,
that. Yeah, nah, we had some times. I would definitely say that's an important thing for sure. Like, I think in this day and age, I feel like consistent aesthetic of like pushing design culture. I think that shit matters more than it probably did back then. Even though we
I
always
disagree.
had good.
I disagree. I think it mattered more back then. I don't think it matters as much no more because everybody is so creative. If that makes sense, I feel like since the time
Well,
we
I
started
guess
the festival till now,
yeah. No,
everybody
I
is
would
creative.
agree.
It be
I
flyers
would
that look
agree.
amazing for birthday parties. Like Jesus, like that shit is
Yeah, nah, for
fire.
real.
But it's just for you know what I mean. It's
Yeah,
just for a birthday
but
party.
I mean, I would still say that like on the mainstream level, like I would say we do have good design. You know what I'm saying? Like the flyers and the stuff we drop be very on point to the people we talking to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff, that we can improve on aesthetically, you know what I'm saying? But it's very, very important, you know what I mean, to the youngs that's watching, you know what I'm saying? But 2015, I think it was back to DC with it, because the Los Angeles thing, it was cool, it was great.
Yeah, we made. If I recall, we made money. I think we made money in DC and lost money in LA, and it ended up
Yeah.
basically being a wash.
Yeah. It was ambitious on our side, and it sucked because we didn't keep the consistency up. So it's like we did it, and then we didn't do it again. So it became
Right.
like the myth of it. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, them broccoli cats. Oh yeah, okay, I vaguely remember that. You know what I'm saying? But not having consistency on the West Coast, or anywhere else for that matter. But the DC thing, we were still popping on the DC side. So 2015 was another year we came back. This when we moved though. Actually we moved in 2014. So you want to talk about the venue
Oh, right.
change?
Yeah, yeah.
The
So
venue
that was when
change.
we went from the Navy Yard area, DC, in this container area to this new pavilion that is dead in the hood. Ward 7, Ward 8, Anacostia. We at the corner of Malcolm X and MLK. You know what I mean? Like, so it's right in the midst of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's early 2000s, so like it's still active. Like a lot of the development ain't there, but we had a look right where we could expand, we could grow. It was like a city park. And they was giving us a lot of love.
But you
Honestly,
also
like
can speak about how they reached out to you. I remember talking to the tall cat. I forgot his name, the cat who actually put the whole joint together. But I remember them reaching out to us
yeah,
about.
somebody had randomly had just connected me about like, hey, I went to go see this venue. It's this new development. Da 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 da. And it's crazy because I think like that same day or that same week we was gonna be putting a deposit down on the other venue, and I just randomly went to go see it. I remember calling B like, man, we might have a op, whatever, whatever. And we ended up doing the festival there for quite a few years after that. I think up until 2017. You know what I mean? From 14 to 17, we hosted the festival east of the river. I mean, for sure, we were the first time that many people from the DC area who are not from DC and some from DC even went over that side. You know what I mean? Like we definitely birthed a lot of people. So many people done told me like, yo, I had never been over there, and I ain't. And for some people, they ain't been back. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, right? But yeah, no, that was a big move for us. I mean, obviously, toward the end, it became kind of painstaking just because the space they were developing around us, and we were just losing a lot of space. But I would say that 2016 year, 2015, who was on that lineup?
2015 was like the Aluna Georges of the world. Oh, you know what? I'm lying. 2015 we did the Joey Badasses and the K Trinadas and all
Oh
that. The
wow,
year
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
was
yeah,
2017. I apologize.
yeah.
Wow. So boom, this is Erica Badu, and I'll break y'all down on how that happened because obviously we couldn't afford Erica Badu, the performer. So we got DJ Loretta Brown. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I had to reach out to. We didn't even book her through like her official agency. You know what I'm saying? Like had to run around, talk to a couple people, and booked her through her tour manager, Big Mike. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
remember that he held us down. Shout out to Big Mike. And we also had to beg to put Erica Badu on there because they really originally just wanted us to put DJ Loretta Brown.
Loretta
We was
Brown.
able to put that AKA
Hey, hey.
Erica Badu, mad big. You know what I'm saying? But we had the Joey Badasses of the world, K Trinata before y'all knew who K Trinata was, Jaden and Willow Smith. You know what I mean? Shout out to Jada.
That's
Jada
right.
Pinkett
Yeah,
was
yeah,
there. I
yeah,
remember I
yeah,
met her
yeah.
mom. I met, Miss, I don't know her mama name. But yeah, she was there. Light
Damn, I forgot
show.
about that. That was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
Marley in the
crazy.
mix. I want to say Marley in the mix. They was a DC local group, but I want to say Drum came out with them. This before Drum, I believe he got signed to like Love Renaissance and all that back in the day. So we done had, bruh, it's a lot of history out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Yeah,
history.
and that was a good
Duran,
year.
we had Callie Eustace. You know what I mean? She from the DC area. Shout out to Henny. Henny was managing Callie Eustace at the time.
Yeah, nah, we got you know we gotta have Scooty on because Scooty had a good run. Like Scooty Rock Creek
Brother
Social was
Manny
rolling.
Wells. Sorry to
Manny
interrupt you, brother.
Wells.
Brother Manny
Yeah, nah,
Wells.
Manny
A
Wells.
lot of these artists getting they shine now. Manny just put up
Yeah.
a picture the other day of his shit in like Africa or something. You know what I mean? So shout out to Manny Wells. He was on that.
Damn, Manny Wells was on that lineup?
Yeah, it was hosted by DJ Money. Shout out to Money, Rodney Ricard. You know, all the same people, man. Shit, Rock Creek Social
Man.
Club. So we definitely got to have Scooty on for a talk. But 2015 was a powerful year, though. I remember Willow and Jaden. Shout out to my homegirl Paris. She had seen the festival, like she knew about the festival. I met her. Paris was in LA, and she was working for Overbrook, which is Will and Jada's company. And she was like, "Yo, the kids want to play Broccoli City." And I'm like, "What you mean the kids? You know what I mean?" And she like, "Yo, Willow and Jaden want to play that joint." And I'm like, "Shit, like we can't afford them." I remember telling Mark like, "Yo, they want to play it, but we can't afford them." So shout out to Paris, shout out to Miguel, the whole team, Miss Jada. They did that shit for free. You know what I mean? I never forget that. They did the festival for free, but I remember I had to call Mark because they security had to come through, scope the whole scene, make sure everything was right. You know what I mean? But yeah, they did the festival for free. So
Nah,
shout
that was actually a big moment though. While you bullshit, like to have them come out to the festival at that time, that was a
it was
big moment. Like,
raining. It was
yeah,
raining.
Jada got on
It
stage and was
rain.
dancing. Because had that single. I forgot what song it was, but Jada or Willow, no, Willow had Whip or some shit.
Yeah, with my hair. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
remember they
yeah,
made
yeah,
the
yeah.
African signs for him outside. Aesthetically, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that venue adhered to that. You know, and the way
Mm-hmm.
I loved St. Liz in terms of the cultural spaces that we could make around it. I think at St. Liz is when the Brock really became like a cultural type of thing because we was able to do like art stuff under the pavilion. We had obviously vendors, like it was good, man. That was a great man. That was a
Yeah,
good
and
festival.
shit. I mean, financially up to this point, other than 2014, where we pretty much like broke even, we was like making a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? Like we were staying afloat. To your point earlier about not being able to come back, like we was staying afloat. Like we was keeping it going. You know what I'm saying? But I think coming out of 2015 though, I think we knew that we needed to like step it up because we was feeling kind of flat. I think for the 2 years back to back, we might have like slightly grown, but it wasn't like no big time jump. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't even
Um,
thinking about that shit, to be honest with you. Maybe you were, but I wasn't even in that mindset. I feel like, and maybe you saying that looking at it in hindsight, but like at the time for me, I was just
no, no,
like, yo,
no. I mean, I'm saying in terms of like the types of artists that we were getting, like we knew we needed to get like a name, like
I
because
don't
think
even.
about it. Up to that point, like you did mention some good names, but it still wasn't like no. I mean, shit. To be honest with you, up until that point, I don't think we had spent more than 50,000 for anybody.
Yeah, yeah. So going into 2016, which is a very important year. Shout out to Mark had said it earlier. Our man Christian, who came on and did the creative direction for that one, which was super duper fire. Maybe we can show an image of that flyer. But this was probably one of the most renowned years for Broccoli City,
Hmm.
talent wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, lined up now. It's like B. Yeah, I ain't gonna front. Like this was B in his bag at the utmost for sure.
And it also was like the learnings of not putting a million people on your festival. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that when you see festival lineups, they was so many names at that time. You know what I mean? It's like, shout out to Alex and them over at Governor's Ball, but it would be like, or Jordan and them over at Governor's Ball, but it would just be so many names. And I think that Broccoli City was really interested when we came in 2016, with the Futures, the Janae Aiko's, Sango, Anderson Paak, the Internet, you know what I mean? And who else? BJ the Chicago Kid. It was out of there. That's it. You know what I mean? And it was the
Yeah,
best. It was people had a really good time at that one. I
yeah,
think that was the
that
one that
was.
kind of broke the.
I mean, it was a lot of big moments. It was a lot of the future moment. You know what I mean? Dirty Sprite. You know what I'm saying? It rained a little bit, like during his performance. Like that was an incredible day. Like that was a big one. Like that was a big moment for sure.
Yeah.
Um, shit. I mean, I remember so many people just Janae's performance. Like it was just the internet, early internet. I mean,
And you think
that
about like,
lineup top to bottom.
and you think about like marketing ideas and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? At this time, you know, we was doing like mixes on SoundCloud. I remember when we dropped this
Hmm.
lineup, we dropped a mixtape. Yet again, shout out to my man Henny. I want to say that
That was
I
with Gold
forgot.
Link.
Yeah, it was with Gold Link and them. We had did this
Hmm.
song with Gold Link
Yeah, that shit
and
went crazy on
Sango.
SoundCloud.
That came one of the biggest. It became one of the biggest songs. You know what I mean at that time. But yet again, those are all just different marketing ideas at that time. And I want to say, yeah, the gram and all that was popping. Yeah, the gram and all that had been popping. But
Yeah, 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 yeah,
um,
yeah. No, it
yeah,
was a big. That was a big time. I mean, I remember, between us like raising some money through Dion and Marcus on the investor side, quasi with like little money that we had from the previous year, combined with a little bit of money's just tied up in the deep rug bullshit. It's the motherfucking whatchamacallit. It's the fucking we really just was cash flowing it.
yeah,
Like it was really just like a total 100% risk of saying, yo, we have just enough money to pay deposits and we gonna hope we sell enough tickets to cover the back end. And that's
Yeah, it was
basically
terrible.
what we did.
Yeah, it was
Like,
terrible. It
awful.
was terrible. You know what I'm saying?
But it worked. It
But
worked. We ended up fucking blowing that shit out. That shit went crazy. And we blew it out.
and then
Yeah,
that's
that
when
shit
we
sold
had the
out.
conversation. Had got reached out to by my man Mark Manghold over at Live Nation in DC, and he was like, "Yo, you know what I mean? I got this cat I want to introduce you to,
Yeah.
man. This dude want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? This brother by the name of Sean G, who I really wish, in all honesty, that we probably cut this and just have our interview with Sean. You know what I'm saying? Because I love to just go into that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, yeah, damn, crazy. So anyway, that
Yeah, it's
started the
crazy because that
conversation.
was, but no, that was after that. Yeah, so you said that was like
Yeah,
around,
2016 because
yeah, going in there because he
they,
came to the
so Sean,
2017 festival.
so Sean G, to school y'all on Sean G before we have him on the show. You know what I mean? Shout out to dude. But Sean is the minds behind the Roots Picnic. Him and the brother Amir, Questlove, all that good stuff. And they had Future too. You know what I mean? And I remember it was something of the matter of Broccoli City was before Roots Picnic. Roots Picnic has traditionally and always been in June. Broccoli City was in April. And I remember I had a conversation with Sean about like Future's backline or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But ideally, he really wanted to have a conversation about what he had boiling in the Live Nation building. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
But
yeah, because
yeah,
I think at that time, Sean, I guess, and I'm pretty sure. You know, what I mean, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that at that time there was an opportunity for, um, man, what's my man for the with the boxing?
Al Heyman.
Al Heyman, that there was an opportunity for him to come back into the building and do some live stuff, and he really wasn't interested. He had the boxing, and I think Sean had some new blood, new ideas, and I think, you know what I mean, it was a situation for him to come in and get a venture, which ended up being Live Nation Urban. And I think, yeah, to B's point, he ended up coming to the festival, was impressed what we had going on in 2017. That was the Solange, Ray
So
Shermer,
yeah, he
however
ended up
you say it.
coming. He ended up coming, and I would say this too. Also, the young cats that's getting things popping. When somebody reach out to you like a cat that probably can invest in what you building or whatever, I would say, just make sure you ready. You know what I mean? Like have all your ducks in a row, because I remember, to Marcus's point, when Sean did come out in 2017, we had a new like little operational squad. You know what I'm saying? Mark was dealing with a couple of different people on operations, and he was blown away just by
Shout
like
out
we
to
had all this
Laura,
stuff going on our own. Shout out to Laura.
Epoch.
Um, yeah, at Epoch. We had our own thing going. He back there riding on the trailers, like, bro. I mean, riding in the like, bro. We had that thing right. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted,
Yeah,
to
fully
Marcus' point,
independent.
we was struggling to make it happen. But in terms of if you ain't know that, you know what I mean. So he saw that
Facts.
like, damn, these cats can really hold their own, and I think that's what made him, want to really get in bed with us. But it was more so like, yo, I ain't really got to do too much. You know what I mean? You ain't really got to do nothing. Just, you know what I'm saying? Give us some capital and
Yeah.
let us run around. But so that was 17. 17, like I said, like we said, this
17 was
and all that.
also too, something else I think that was key about 17, 16, and 17 is that that's when we started getting in a sponsor bag. You know what I mean? That's when Toyota Green, we first got that Toyota Green deal, 2016, 2017. Like, I think that started 60, 70,000. And then that next year, I think we had gotten like 100,000 from them. You know what I'm saying? Like that 2017 year. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We had the Tito's. We had quite a few sponsors.
And
You know what
shout
I
out and
mean?
shout out to the artists too. You know what I mean? We was booking these folks, and you know, I was at this time I was so young in the game. I'm sending passionate, long emails. Yo, this is Broccoli City. It's a multicultural community. Yada yada yada. And shout out to Solange, because at this time, this is
How did we
Solange.
book her? I don't remember. Where was she at that time? Red Light?
I don't remember the agency. I don't remember the agency. I think it was Brent Smith. I'm not sure who it was, but Shorty was like, And this is Solange, you know what I mean? Show me your way, stuck in. Like, this is
This the
Solange.
Solange.
She came back like popping, you know what I mean? And shout out to her just for accepting, because these artists can take your offers or they don't have to, you know what I mean? So shout out to her for taking it, because we was a baby festival, you know what I mean? Still are in some regards. And Shorty came and she showed the fuck out. So shout out to Solange for that. And shout out to all the artists. You know, I remember us building this relationship with the QCs of the world. This before we had actually met Coach K and all that. But him going back and saying, oh, yeah, y'all did the broccoli joint with Yachty. That started a great relationship with QC. And we can get into all that later. But we've had all them, from the Babies to the Migos, all together. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, Takeoff. Because we going into 2018 after this. Where we initially got in bed with Sean and did.
I mean, I think one thing to say we gotta say about 17 is that that was the first time that we had lost some money.
Yeah, it hurt. That one hurt. The rain hurts when you playing for stuff for so long, and that one hurt us.
And I think the venue they had developed so much around that venue that it really became, a lot for us to produce there. They had a homeless shelter that was there. We had to have an egress and ingress space for, homeless folks to be able to access the shelter while the festival was going on. Man, it was just a lot of like small production, just add-ons that was just like really just stacking up our budget. That was like one of the first time we had two stages where the talent, the attendees was having to go between small stage, big stage. Like I remember, people going from Solange to Yachty or Yachty to Solange. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think there was a lot of good shit that was happening that year. Like, I think though we lost a lot of bread, I think that was an important year production wise, because I think that was like, oh nah, like they got two stages, like they programming side to side and having Sean there and just. You know what I mean? And honestly, just us pretty much knowing we just lost our shirt, but being able to walk him around and stand on two and be solid, you know what I'm saying? Like pretty much knowing we just lost a few $100,000, like, I think he had to respect it. Obviously he ain't know, you know what I'm saying? But
and I would say to the yet again, if we talking about festivals and things of that nature, man, it'd be good, you know what I mean, to the young folks watch it, if you could go and kind of maybe go to one and kind of look around and maybe walk around with a producer or something like that, just so you can kind of learn the game. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't even gonna talk no black and white type of swag at the moment, but like, it's definitely a white man's game.
Yeah.
It's definitely a white man's game. You know what I'm saying? But, kudos to Marcus and his team on the operational side, from learning on the go. You know what I'm saying? How to do a lot of this stuff. The same with me on booking. You know what I mean? Like, now I know how to talk to these agents. You know what I'm saying? We got relationships with each other. I'm not sending those long ass, you know what I'm saying, spiritual because it ain't about that. You know what I mean? So it's yet again, doing this shit. You know what I mean? Trying your best to do it at least. So yeah, going into 2018, you know what I mean? We did.
So 18. So we was able to do a co-pro, which was key, because like I said, we was fucked up. So our money was trash. We was fucked up. But Sean ended up being able to get his deal in place by the time it was time for 18 to come up. We ended up doing a co-pro deal, 1 year co-pro deal. And shit, we went crazy. Cardi B, Migos, Miguel, Nip, early Nip, like to the point where niggas
early Nip for everybody else,
like
late Nip for us, but early Nip for everybody else.
Yeah, so early on Nip where cats is on the phone, cats is on emails asking like, y'all sure y'all want Nip? Like they asking for more money type shit. Like niggas is like, oh nah, Nip, like Nip.
And this was when cats was learning our style.
Daniel Caesar and her, like they performed back to back.
Yeah, I mean, it really, and yet again, this ain't us thinking outside the box. Like, these are just people that, you know what I'm saying, we listening to. Shout out to Heather Lowry, who came on to help with a couple of things. And she really helped us get Cardi B. that year, which was probably the biggest act that we had up until
You
that
know
time.
what?
Press-wise,
Heather
obviously.
actually we might be somebody. She might be a great next episode. Like
Oh, for sure.
after Cam. Like now that you say that, like Heather should be the next one. Like I love that actually. Like Heather's a great one. I'm glad you mentioned Heather. I forgot about her in this midst because she on the low from her history of the college shit. She actually go deep in the game. I be forgetting out about that.
Yeah, she was with Sean at the time. Live Nation
Mm-hmm.
Urban was fairly small. But
Shit, it
me
was
and
just her and Brandon Pankey, right?
I want to say Mike Carney had started a little bit around that time as well. He was her assistant. But yeah. Heather was a phenomenal look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Got that Cardi B, all
great
that.
musical
Once that
taste.
Cardi B happened,
Yes.
it was a good look. I mean, Miguel,
And that was
Migos.
QC
Shout out to
too.
all
Going
three.
back to the QC relationship, she was being managed by QC at that time for a little second, and I think Sean's
That famous
relationship
picture
with
that y'all
Coach.
see, that famous picture y'all see with Offset, Cardi B, and Sasha Obama, that was at
Yep.
Broccoli City.
Shout out to Kristen Jones. Appreciate her. She was working for Michelle Obama at the time when they was in the White House.
Yeah.
Things was just coming together. Like there was a lot of stuff that was happening at that time. You know, it's crazy. I just seen that video where Cardi B, where her security was on the back of that golf cart
Yeah, that
and
was
it
at
almost
Broccoli
tipped
City.
over. That was
Yeah,
at Broccoli City. But you
yeah,
seen it just went viral because niggas was acting like they was like, oh, that was
that was
Lizzo on the back of.
yeah.
And
That's
I'm
just
like, yo, Cass is crazy. Yo.
yeah. So yeah, that was dope. 2018 was a great year. I mean, it was the
32,000
weather
sold.
was good. The weather was
32,000
good.
tickets
Shout,
sold.
shout out to shout out to my homegirl Erica and everybody over there in Grits and Biscuits. You know what I mean? That was the
Mm.
first year that we did like DJ sets on one side, like kind of experimenting with the culture. Like, yo, hold on, how can we mix culture in? Shout out to our man Brian. We had the Ferris wheel that year. 2018 was a dope year. It was a super dope year.
It was.
It
Just the
was a
whole, if you go back and look at that recap video of 2018, like that to me is quintessential Broccoli City at that time. Like it's
yeah,
a
that
perfect
was
mix of it looked like the best version of like LA, DC coming together. You know what I'm saying? Like that, or I won't even say LA, but just like it just felt culturally the most relevant thing that was out there to me personally, black
yeah.
culture wise.
And at the same time, and I think that we probably need to have our own another conversation about this and bring somebody else in. But I really want to dive into Broccoli Con as well. But we won't do that now because this is just about promoters and all that. This ain't about that. But this is also around the time when we created Broccoli Con. That happened in 2017. Shout out to everybody who was asking us how to do festivals, this, that, to the third. That's why we created Broccoli Con. You know what I mean? So we'll dig into that. You know what I'm saying? At some point. But
Mm-hmm.
moving on, going to 2019. So 2018 was great. Obviously, our partners are like, oh, you know what I mean? These are the guys. Like, hey, even no need to go nowhere else. These are the guys. In 2019, we did the same thing again, just in terms of a co-pro. Now this one was this one was a
Fucked
little
up.
tricky. Yeah, this one got fucked
Fucked
up.
up.
I'm not
So
gonna blame
before it
Marcus.
even get to you, before it get to
Before
you, before it
I'm
get to
not gonna
you,
blame him.
I'm I'm going me.
I'm not blaming you for it's go ahead. Just we had to move. We moved to
That's where I was going to take the blame. You
I
know
don't know
what
if my
I'm
man really looked over the deal points. I don't know, if they
saying?
just strong armed him. He was young at the time. You dealing with a whole NFL team and
Nah, I'm gonna tell you what it was. It was at that time we had been doing the deals directly with the venue. And this was the first time, if you recall, remember that there was the Ted Mankins was involved. There was a lot of third party, the Live Nation DC. They had a relationship existing or a contract with the FedEx Field. And so our deal kind of went under theirs. And so transparency was a challenge. They had never really done anything outside the stadium, in the parking lots. And so we were very much the guinea. I mean, and it was like, yo, the bills did not stop. Like, that shit was crazy. The bills did not stop.
It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff, y'all. I'm glad we started this podcast because it's a lot of stuff, man. Like, I really need to understand, like, how many people are involved in these joints. You know what I mean? These festivals, these tours, bro. Like, from the police to the, like, it's just so much. You know what I'm saying? So we probably
this
have
time
an episode focused in.
I think to put it in scale though, just to be slightly transparent, the festivals in 2016 when we did Future, that festival cost us $1 million all in with talent. I think by the time we get to 2018, 2019, we in that $3 million, $3 to $4 million festival range. You know,
and the market is changing too. This is when you seeing all the festivals, everybody popping off. Like, you know, we have been going so long to where at this point, you know,
it was clear air.
I know I was gonna say I feel like we have been going long enough to where, you know, you may try to hit some other joint versus Broccoli City at that time because it was so many festivals.
Yeah. So you had options. There was options.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, you know what I mean? I can go to this spot. I can go to, you know, even though Afro Punk was before us, they started before us. You know what I mean? Shout out to Matthew Morgan and them. Yeah, like it just 2019. It was a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody had a festival. Like it was a lot.
Well, I will say this. So
it was a lot of festivals.
It was the cost increased because we had to move from RFK because they were having construction. It was the combination of increased cost moving to FedEx Field and dealing with the Redskins, right? Combined with the talent.
You know what I mean? We, you know, for the talent that year, you know, one of the biggest people out in the whole festival scene was Childish Gambino. But, you know, and shout out to Fam. You know what I mean? Shout out to my brother Fam. Shout out to Donald himself. You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all. But we just weren't prepared to do that. You know what I mean? Like we weren't prepared to
I don't think we were just not prepared. I don't think our attendees was prepared for Childish either.
Yeah, we had Lil Wayne on the lineup as well. A lot of folks, they just wanted to see Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? Like they were good after that. You know what I mean? But Childish was fantastic though. But this was a powerful year though, talent wise. You know what I'm saying? Like Black, LMA,
Lil Baby and Gunner,
WizKid, even though he canceled that day, which is
facts. City Girls with only Carisha.
City Girls with only Carisha because JT was in jail. We had Phil Day.
Childish. That hurt us though. Like the childish of it all. Like we had pushed for it in the building. You know, they had gave us the approval. I think we ended up paying Cuz like $850,000. That was big boy. You know, that was big boy headliner money at that time.
Huge
you know what I mean? And they let us roll the dice on it. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, I believe it was the right idea in terms of being aggressive at that time, but I think it was the wrong name. I think B mentioned it earlier when we were talking about JoJo. I think that Childish was a little bit of that same thing of us saying like, okay, you know, we're looking at the Gov Balls, we're looking at the Coachellas, we're looking at the, you know, whoever else that's out there festival wise, the Lollapaloozas, and we're saying like, oh, you know, there's a potential like white audience. If we can get the 30% white, you know what I mean? Like now we can scale up and be 40, 50,000 and we can make FedEx Field make sense. And like, it's Childish that name to do it. And he wasn't. To be honest, like to B's point, after Lil Wayne performed, it was like shit. I mean, not everybody left, but a lot of motherfuckers left.
So it's more so about we ain't even really like you ain't even have to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But yet again, looking back on it on hindsight, I'm glad that we learned those lessons. I'm glad that I got that relationship and we got that relationship with Childish and them and their team. So yet again, shout out to them. We appreciate y'all. Because to Mark's point, this was our first time swinging that big. You know what I mean? Like all these people are our peers until, you know what I mean, everybody got signed in 2011. You know what I mean? Like, these all our peers. And then now you got signed, you with Interscope, you know what I mean? You doing all these little, you know what I mean? You a different cat now. You know what I mean? So shout out to Childish though for even doing it. Cause like I said, that boy was popping like hot fire. And obviously shout out to Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? That's home team for us on the production side. So shout out to
then let me see. After that, let me see. So that was 2019, and then 2020. That's COVID year.
Yeah, we can end this after this. We can get ready to close this out.
Yeah, like
2020.
Yeah, so COVID year, man. Like, so we coming off of L. Like, transparently, we lost a bag. Like, I think we lost $1 million. Yeah, like, I think easily we lost $1 million that year, fucking with FedEx. And so, you know, now, you know, niggas looking at you kind of weird in the building. You know, the energy wasn't the same. Shit wasn't, you know, it wasn't the 2016 energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you coming off a little bit of a big ass dud, a lot of money being lost. And so, you know, like, we really had to get in our bag. And I think that, you know, if
some be saying we getting our bag and all that. Some be saying we getting in our bag, but really we not though. Like, we just doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, the lineup that we got.
But it was a very important year though. Like, it was obvious that we needed to come through though. Like, it was a heightened like, yo, we gotta come through.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, talent wise, just to set the stage for that, you know, this is the baby first coming out, like the baby, the Roddy Riches, Meg Thee Stallion, Burna Boy, Ari Lennox. Like, we had like a lineup, you know what I mean? Doja Cat, you know what I mean? Like, this is,
man, the Doja
before, because Doja took off during COVID, right? Like, in terms of mainstream. Like, but it was, yeah, this was a good one. And it was funny because when we announced the lineup, I remember like working out of this like work thing. Like, I was working in this like coffee shop type of ordeal.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember we had dropped it. And, you know, I'm thugging out because it's real life too. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Broccoli City one thing, but real life is another thing. So we'll have that conversation about real life too at some point. Like, because you still got to balance your life. You know what I mean? Which I was terrible at. You know what I mean? But we'll get into all that. Bruh, my phone started like going like hammer. And I'm like, yo, you know, usually, like I said, after we drop a lineup, you know, I get a couple texts like, yo, y'all outside. But we have been doing this shit for so many years that it's like people don't really text you until like closer to the date or whatever. Bruh, my joint was going hammer time. And then I had this call from this OG cat. I ain't even gonna say his name. I ain't gonna say his name because I don't want to put him out there like that. But I had this OG call me who had helped me like facilitate a relationship, kind of, sort of. But they really didn't help me do nothing, to be honest. But anyway, they helped me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say they didn't. But bruh,
you talking about to get to somebody on the lineup?
Yeah. When I tell you this dude called me and he was trying to bully me so bad, like, yo, I was like, oh, this joint's slapping. Because he was really on me, like, on some, like, it was more so like, yo, like, acknowledge the fact that I helped you type shit. Like, and I'm like, why the fuck is you giving me this energy, OG? And when I'm saying this, I'm Googling and I'm looking and I'm getting text at the same time. Like, he wanted that because the energy was too nuts. The energy was nuts. Like, folks was like, yo, this is the best lineup. I mean, everybody from the Soul Election cats to, bro, that joint was that was a one. That was a nice one.
That was the best. To me, that was the best, like, black culture, R&B, hip hop, top to bottom lineup. Like, because if you go back and look at that lineup, and you then look at like who won the Grammys for that next year, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that lineup was just culturally so on point, and we were so early with everybody. It was just incredible. I tell you something else that went crazy was that was the first year that we did the if you post a flyer and get $10 off your ticket.
Oh yeah, that was a great idea from Mark. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, we should get people to post a flyer and you know what I'm saying? And they'll do the marketing for us. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, that's a good ass idea. You know what I mean? So by the time it was 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 3 o'clock for me, bro. Your whole timeline is the
Timeline.
joint. You know what I mean?
It was
So
crazy.
that was a great year. Then obviously
Like
COVID hit. I mean, bomb.
Like, but you know, it was just crazy. I just remember those conversations with like SG and he just being like, yo, raise the price. Like, it was just so crazy of just what was going on. And I think we end up selling, I mean, we were at like 35,000 tickets sold.
Man.
Right. And I just remember like, as this process is happening, a few weeks, we've been on sale for a few weeks, you know, probably, no, actually we have been on sale for probably about a month and a half. And I remember Laura Rankin, back to Epoch, she was our producer. She had called me and she was like, man, I think South by Southwest, she was producing some stuff there. She like, South by Southwest about to cancel. You know what I mean? Hopefully everything calms down because of COVID. And I'm like super optimistic, like, shit, we good. Like, damn, it's fucked up. It should be good in about a couple of weeks. Like, we just sold 30,000. I mean, I remember sending B screenshots of like, you know, we was going to make like 1.8. Like, it was ridiculous where we are at that time. Man, I don't remember what happened, but B's face says it all.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. That was
My God.
That was a burner, and that to everybody, right, that went through that at that time, because everybody, we all went through it. This COVID. That's why I'm happy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna tap my producer. I'm happy that, you know, we can start to close out on this because everybody went through COVID. But going back, let me rewind back real quick just to the booking of the lineup. Shout out to my man Arnold Taylor, North Cac in the building. You know what I'm saying?
The baby
at that time, and the baby was the hot, bruh. That boy was fire. So hot at that time, man. You know what I mean?
Fire. We got that man for $100,000 at that time.
He gave it was a little more than that, but shout out to Arnold. You know what I'm saying? Because he could have banged us on the head, but he didn't. You know what I mean? Shout out to North Cac. Shout out to my man Ian, who put me in contact with Arnold. And it was funny because Marcus and I had went to like All-Star Weekend in Charlotte like the year before, and that's when they was like getting the baby right. They was getting them right, having them little dinners and all that. And we went to that dinner and was able to da-da-da-da-da. But shout out to Arnold. He's still my man to this day. The Meg the Stallions of the world. Shout out to y'all. Roddy Rich. You know what I'm saying? Roddy's team yet again. Bro, this is Roddy off of whatever. Like that album, bro, you had to have been there. That album was the best West Coast project in a very long time.
You gotta put that at one. Like, that joint's in the Live Nation office. Like, if you go to the motherfucking Beverly Hills office, that flyer, that poster, that's the best fucking lineup that never happened.
Shout out to my man G, who got us Doja Cat, you know what I mean, on a phone call. I called my man G, yo, what up? Like, Marcus on hold. I'm on mute. Like, yo, merge on with me right quick. I'm about to call my man Gordon, and we about to get Doja. I'll say Mark was on Doja. Like, yo, get Doja, man. I'm telling you. Got her for, like, no money. You know what I'm saying? Super light. Shout out to Gordon, because now Gordon heavy right now. Might have to bring Gordon on the show. You heavy right now.
By the time 2020 was over, Shorty was out of here. So, like, the timing of the festival, like, we were so on point. Like, everybody was so big by the time the
Burna Boy at that time. Like, Burna Boy.
Crazy,
like,
bro.
Not even thinking about all this. We had Ari Lennox
sauce.
fresh off of Cocoa.
The name.
We had Ari Lennox fresh off of Cocoa Butter Baby. That's what kept, like, man, I don't even, listen, I forgot what my producer told me to say. I think she said, yo, leave comments. You know, leave comments on the bottom. Think about folks we should interview. You know, this has been an emotional one for me, Mark. I don't know about you, but ending on this 2020, I gotta go do a little walk.
I do gotta say this real quick. If 2020 gets off, our brand, like, we've talked about this privately, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely don't want to hinder, because to your point, everybody lost something over COVID. But I gotta say that us specifically, like, that was like a life-changing situation that got wiped off the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, to be, you know, well over $1.5 million in profit before the event even happens for some shit like this, on some like black shit, like, yeah, like, this was different. This shit crushed the nigga, to your point. Like, you gotta smoke one of that. Just think about it.
It was a very tough time, and I know we all know that everybody went through. I look forward to when we have other people on here and they talk about what happened with them during COVID, this, that, to the third. But you got to bounce back, and that's surely what we did. But we'll talk about that on the next episode. Text me when you outside again.
For
It's been
sure.
your
Like,
boy.
subscribe us. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
like,
us on
subscribe.
all platforms. Follow us on all the socials, TikTok,
Yeah,
IG.
yeah.
We excited. You know what I mean? Like we said, this is the last of the part one of the part two, right? You know what I mean? Like
But a
now the
broccoli
next joint.
story. This ain't, you won't hear too much about us unless we get fuzzled into other people's stories. But we just want to give y'all an intro, let y'all know what this is from our perspective.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? And this podcast is to educate. So let us know what you want to know about. You know what I mean? Things that you want to ask us, like, or things that you want us to ask others. You know what I mean? Like, we own it. We doing this for everybody who just want to know about this game and keep this game going.
For sure. And we need to know it's a bunch of broccoli cities out there and cities all over the country. So like we ain't claiming to know everybody. People's active all over. So if you know somebody, like, we love to get on the pod. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Holla at
man.
us.
And
Yo,
till then,
text me when you outside.
he
We
said it.
out.
We out.